Smo, J Smo, I have a question for you. Are you familiar with the word of the day?
Well, I think it starts with a G, good brother.
The word of the day does start with a G, apparently. It's galvanized. Galvanized. Not sure if you're familiar with the context of that word and the way in which it was used today. Heard another really good SAT word just now. You heard crystallized, crystallization as
Crystal.
well. Got real scientific with the anatomy of what uh, is or isn't supposed to happen during the process of getting breast augmentation. So not sure
You know what?
about all of that, but
I think Professor Coffee Brown was teaching me about that this morning, man. I think that's
that
where I heard
was
that.
so many SAT words were used during the course of what we'll get into in a second. But LTBR Group Chat, we're back trying to make this a weekly Sunday thing. Senior staff writer, let's talk battle Q Moody, no Titus with us this week. He's out being a fiance, doing fiance things. Just really boring. Wish he was here. But got my man Jay Smo with me. Smo, we have actual battle rap to talk about, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of nonsense. So Smo, before we get into all the nonsense, how you feeling? You feeling better?
Hey, listen, we have a few more than a few things to talk about. Like you said, all related to battle rap. Some on the good side, some of the bad side. We're going to talk about K Shine's event, Rebirth of a Culture. I don't know. I don't know if the game was saved like advertised, but they had a good event, man. So I can't wait to talk about that. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about this coffee rant we heard. Danny Myers making a litany of poor decisions. So, and the cards we have coming up next weekend, because I don't think people realize next weekend's going to have a shit ton of battle rap. So excited, man. I'm in good spirits about battle rap right now and doing a little better health wise as well.
Yeah, don't got the shades on this time, so might not be as violent or angry of a Smo this time since you don't got the shades on. Probably feeling better, but
I'm always angry. But that's neither here nor there. But
oh
I will
shit, we got
start
Wusan in the chat. Uh, but yo, let's get the nonsense out the way. So we were supposed to go live maybe like honestly about 40 minutes ago, and then tea with Tati is always a big thing. Shout out to Tati, but especially big today because of Coffee and Yoshi popping up in respective spaces and saying a bunch of disparaging things about the other. I don't think we necessarily want to get into the minutia of all these different things because not the place for that, not our business. But I do want to say that I think that Coffee Rant is like in the clouds for elite hate and just destruction and violence that we've ever seen in a space or like a face off or a radio show. Like that shit just
and
now was elite.
that shit was like the Ray J rant, man. That was
Honest,
that was
honestly.
that was 100%. We just woke up to that too. You know what I'm saying? We were prepared
Yeah.
to talk about K Shine's event immediately, but just yeah, a lot of violence, a lot of bad things wished, a lot of motherhood question. I don't know what started none of it, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have the details of the story. I'm just here to say that Coffee Brown said a lot of very dark, very surgical things about Yoshi G. I don't know if that's a battle that's trying to get set up. That just sounded like personal hate for real. I'd like to see them rap because but I don't know. That was a little bit all over the place, man. So that was quite a
I
way to start.
don't I don't want to repeat the majority of the things that
I'm not
Coffee
doing it.
said towards that
Mm-mm.
woman. I would just like to say that having an extended segment saying that her titties were galvanizing, which shout out to Coffee, that was the incorrect use of that word. But using that word to describe someone's titties was honestly very creative. And crystallization used to also describe what was going on there is some of the most diabolical work I've ever heard. Uh I guess since these are battle rappers, this does beg the question: are you interested in seeing Coffee and Yoshi battle? Coffee says that they've been booked to battle 3 different times. So, how do you feel about the idea of if this could or should lead to a battle? And are you interested in it?
I got Coffee Brown 3-0 and Yoshi G if they battle. But I had that before she stated the definition of galvanization And now after, I feel the same way. I just think she's a better battle rapper than Yoshi G. But we don't see Yoshi pop out as much anymore. So I don't know. Maybe it would take something like this to get her in the ring. But I think it's just two different levels of rapper. So that I don't know. There's just a lot going on over there. We did not expect that. It's on a Sunday too. Horrible.
Yeah, like
The Lord's Day.
I'm thinking that we're just gonna come in and talk about the event, and no, we got all that going on as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess you want to transition into talking a little bit more about the rest of the nonsense, because the
listen,
Danny
we wanted to talk about
situation
rap.
started last week.
K-Shine's event has a lot of good things to talk about, but we want to get all this out the way.
What do you think?
We talked about this a little bit last week, and it just became ridiculous. There's blogs this morning going out about it, and it is getting very tiring. But considering we didn't get to speak on it, I don't know why Danny Myers trusted the head of the MBS account to begin with. That's really what this all comes down to. Danny Myers made a poor decision to give information to someone that was always had zero credibility, is known for doing shit like this. And now that they are doing shit like this, Danny is befuddled that they are in fact doing it. So I don't know what you can really say. There's so many things. There's wives yelling on live streams. There's ghostwriting rounds that aren't getting used, that we're writing just out of the kindness. We were bored, so we wrote 4 pages of rhymes.
Just offering free. Like isn't that the most Danny Myers shit in the world? Not ghostwriting, but a nigga just offering free rhymes for the love of the game. Like,
yeah,
why are you just out here writing
O-flips? He was in the mood to write O-flips, so he just started writing O-flips. Like, none of it makes any sense. And it sucks for the women of battle rap, because how many women caught a ghostwriting allegation that we know for the most part is false, and now people are just speaking about and about Jazz. Even the hustle shit doesn't have a lot of proof. So it's all nasty. The women actually caught the most strays, and at the end of the day, this is because Danny Myers was fucking with low tier media, doing low tier shit, and he got low tier consequences. And he just has to do better as a grown man, just to not give people your YouTube password. Why does he have YouTube password, Danny? Well, what is he going to do with that? Things don't make sense.
My thing is, if you were already cool with a nigga and you're just like, you're not trying to like completely throw away a friendship, then like, I guess. But if someone do some super weird shit to the extent that nigga did, like faking phone calls and text and pump faking on recordings and saying I got XYZ, but then you don't, and it's just some straight clout demon shit, and you still cool with the nigga, how can you then be surprised at how he might then act towards you if you guys have some sort of falling out? If you've seen how low and how weird the nigga's gonna get just for the love of the game, just for some attention. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how anyone could overlook that. I don't know how in battle rap we overlook how just people do weird ass shit and they're allowed to come back. This happens all the time. The nigga that we're talking about is far from the only case of someone doing some weird shit in battle rap and then being allowed to just still exist within this ecosystem. But god damn, how do you know someone did that? You're like, yeah, I want to put my trust in him running my socials.
Yeah, and here's the one good thing that's going to come out of all this is I hope, and I know that getting someone out of battle rap is a process, even when they should be gone. But I think this will be the end of Keo. I think everyone, even if we all disagree on a lot of things, knows that this is an extremely strange individual that is here to do nothing but clout chase. Like everything people they say they hate about modern day battle rap here on YouTube, that he's a bit of an embodiment of that. So that's the one good thing is I think after this little 15 minutes of fame, that's all we get from that. But from here on out, if people are caught making fake screenshots, we need to shame them on a daily basis. Just like that, like there's certain things that just taking it like you can't open the door for it because it opens the floodgates of just endless weird shit that could happen in the future. So if you make a fake screenshot, you have zero credibility with me. That was already my rule before, but I think it's kind of crazy. Simple things like that have to be stated very loudly for some reason. So it's all bad, and I'm hoping this is the last 24 hours we got to hear about it, man, because I'm tired of it. Probably not going to get Hustle and Jazz because of this already. If we weren't, we probably already weren't. It's given us nothing.
Hustle and Jazz is cooked. Hustle and Jazz is.
Yeah, so it's just one of those
done.
things. All this did, ironically, is hurt female battle rap. That's the main thing that this did, if nothing else, and it made Danny Myers
Yeah,
look good.
that
So I hope it's out of here, man.
yeah, no, we're gonna move on in a second, but you hit the nail on the head here. Is that we've had some positive stuff with female battle rap, the announcement of WTBL, and what that maybe could bring into the future. So there was some positivity to be looking forward to, and then this just brings all the weird negative shit back to the forefront. And now we're questioning these women that don't deserve to be questioned in the type of manners in which they are. Women that we've seen be great for over a decade and have classic battles, classic moments, classic bars, all this different stuff. And it's just like instead of Danny having his own falling out with the weirdo, it now turns into a whole thing that put female battle rap in these battle rappers in a compromised position, which they didn't earn, they didn't deserve, and it's not fair to anyone that has to deal with that shit. So yeah, so I guess we can move on from the nonsense.
Yeah, he
To get
said, "What about that? We just had a good main event. We are going to talk about that more
yeah,
than anything. We just had to get that
yeah,
out the way.
absolutely.
Maybe 10, 11 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Give us a break, man. You give everybody else a break. They talk about it for 5 hours. So that being said, man, against all odds, rebirth of a culture. Q, this was pretty good, man. And it had every sign in the world that it was going to be a disaster. We were all talking about the undercard, the flyer that said pay-per-view. All of the ridiculousness was there, and I'm happy for K Shine, man. As a first-time event thrower, as everything that's, you know what I'm saying, like that's went on with him. Obviously, I think he's made poor decisions within battle rap, and that's led to an extended hiatus. But obviously, outside of the ring, he had a lot going on too. And even for a 4 battle card that ran longer than it should have,
Yeah.
they got some good performances, man. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, I guess we should maybe get the negative sentiments out of the way first, because anything that is negative here isn't going to be uncommon for any sort of battle rap event. But a delay that keeps the event going, like starting 2 or 3 hours before it was supposed to start. I believe there was like an hour intermission between Big T and Serious Jones. There's some stuff there that isn't ideal, and you cut some slack there because this is K Shine's first time running an event. It doesn't seem that there were really anybody that was helping him organize this thing, so it seems like a completely independent thing other than the pay-per-view streaming being on RapGrid. So that being said, the card itself wound up being a lot better than we thought it would be. And 4 battles was maybe like concerningly short. And there's still some issues there, but overall, I would say I had a pretty good time.
Yeah, you know what the word really is for me? It was fun. And I think a lot of battle rap events, especially like smaller league or with so many new leagues popping up, a lot of them miss the aspect of fun trying to chase down like the biggest names that they could throw on the card or like getting this done a certain way, like trying to already shoot for the sky without like taking the necessary steps to get there. And K Shine's event, was it like special? Was it even like a great event? No, but the crowd was engaged. Huge part of it. How many events have you watched where the crowd hasn't been engaged lately? Like the people that were there, no matter how many, were like there for battles.
They were
The
excited.
performers cared. They got a little bit like, you know, Shotty got a little WWE with it when he first came out to the ring, taking the mic and giving like that fucking like Braveheart speech about like, you know, US versus UK. And they put Hottie Horror on the flyer. Like that, it was those little things that added to the energy of it where even it's 4 battles and one of them is horrible. And I still really enjoyed myself the majority of the event. But I agree with you. Runtime is just unacceptable. It makes battle rap a non like functional product in the real world when you should be showing up for a 3-4 hour event and it's 7 to 8 hours. That just doesn't work. That doesn't
Yeah.
work really with anything else in life. So we have to get that together. But I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, man. And unless you got any more thoughts, I'm ready to get into the battles.
No, I think we can get right into the battles. And this one is probably the most surprising result or outcome of the night. And that's the opener when we had Nick G versus JC. And when we came on last week and we previewed the card, everyone admitted that we were not super familiar with Nick G, but this was a big spot for him. K Shine believed in him. So maybe they're leaving the door open for some sort of surprise to take place. And lo and behold, Nick G was pretty fucking good. He's
Yo,
pretty good,
Nick
man.
G, and it didn't start that way either. The first
Yeah.
round, JC whooped on Nick G in the first round. And this is something I don't understand, which I saw people doing like immediately once Nick G was doing good. Where they were like he was getting gassed. I saw like Chilla Jones. It said like, "Are we letting crowd reaction like sway us?" And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I know that Nick G is zip him up. That's probably the one thing anyone knew about him. So maybe you'd figure he's like from New York, but yo, he's from the Midwest. Like he's from like somewhere in Illinois. And when he was
Yeah,
getting
like
whooped in the third,
he has like
he
street
wasn't getting no love.
he has like street status battles. He has street
Yeah,
status battles from like
yo, he wasn't
15
getting no
years
love
ago.
in
He's
that
not a
first.
New York guy.
He wasn't getting no love, and he didn't deserve it. His first was not good. JC was up 1-0 clear, but then from there, Nick G second and third versus a good JC. JC's good across all 3 rounds. A good JC performance.
That's
But
not a bad JC at all.
Nick G met him up there in the second and the third, bro, and it's a genuinely debatable battle. I think Nick G took the second. I think he cleared the second.
Yes.
And I think the third round is debatable. He wrapped a bit longer than him. So he had some spots where he was like, his haymakers were haymaker. Might have a little bit of like downtime. So I'm not mad if someone edges JC to third. But when he tell him to switch on JC like Judas and Peter, like he had some just good JC flips. He was terrible angling in the first. When he got into the drug shit in the second, as old of an angle as that is against JC, he was making that shit work. He was entertaining. I was impressed, man. I will definitely watch Nick G battle again because that was like that wasn't just like a 60% JC and then this guy accidentally did good. They had a good opening battle for the night. And I had Nick G 2-1, second and third.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think I had Nick G clearly second to second, and I think I had Nick G second to third. It's funny, and I don't say this to always compare battle rappers because I think we get so caught up in doing that. But as I'm listening to Nick G, I was like, man, this guy really kind of felt like I was listening to Souffleur Soul. So I put out a little funny tweet with the Toby Maguire meme of cleaning the glasses, comparing Nick G and Souffleur Soul. But I was like, this kind of feels like I'm watching a pretty someone that's decently similar to Souffleur in a few ways. And Souffleur was a promising prospect, and obviously Nick G's been around so much longer than Souffleur Soul's been a battle rapper. So maybe Souffleur Soul sounds like Nick G. I don't know. But it felt like, okay, this is a guy that's a solid puncher, can do some solid, good drug talk things as well, and kind of like has like an air of believability and like a little bit of aura to him. So like, okay, this is solid. And he came in as a big unknown. This was a really big spot for Shine to put him in against a guy like JC. And Nick G delivered. And I think, honestly, he was probably like the biggest tone setter of the night. He set the tone perfectly because then after that we get Charron and Reed, and with how solid Nick G versus JC was, I think the crowd was like really into the night off that alone.
Yeah, I was impressed, man, and I'm not mad at anyone that has JC 2-1. But I just didn't like how they were instantly trying to like just say it's gas. Like I know he's an unknown name, same way we looked at him. I had JC 30ing him. I thought 2 rounds in from JC that he was gonna 30 him, but it's cool. Like these are the kind of like surprise things you can't predict that you need for a card that's kind of light on paper to live up to being pretty solid. Like you would have never predicted that Nick G and JC would be a fight where you're walking out saying Nick G won. And that adds a little bit of excitement to a battle that going into this, we just thought was on the card to be on the card. So congrats to the both of them, but especially Nick G, man. You earned our respect over here at LTBR, man. But then we can get to the next battle, like you said, which was Charron versus Reed. I know that you're going to say mean things about a battle rapper that I love very much. So I'm going to let you get that out the way, Q. I'm going to just let you go for it now.
Well, I mean, before we get to that, I feel like, Charron needs to be given his credit. And I feel like in a way that people might not always give Charron credit. For the last year and a half, Charron has been incredible. Charron has been violently beating battle rappers for the last year and a half. And it hasn't stopped this year. He has wins over Ill Will, Bill Collector, and Reed Dollaz this year. Now, one of those wins means less than the other ones, but he has beat all of those talents this year. And this goes back to beating Ilmac last year. This goes back to beating like other kind of like lower tier, mid-level names like last year as well, and handling business. This guy has been a machine over the last year or so. So I'm not surprised that Charron did what he did, because regardless of like Reed's recent form, it's more about how ridiculous Charron has been. And this guy honestly might has a case of being like a top 5, top 7, maybe higher active battle rapper in the world right now. That's the level that he's operating at.
One of the absolute best, one of the best streaks in battle rap. And it's a mixture of everything. You know, he's known for freestyling, right? Or kind of like having this deflecting nature where material, especially from URL based artists, has kind of almost like bounced off him, you know, like, and that's why he's gotten that smack killer title. But whether it be King of the Dot artist, you know, for a long time, he had a hard time beating like the KOTD legends. And then look at what he did to Ilmac, who's like, it doesn't get much more legendary than that. And he like 30'd a pretty decent Ilmac, but he's just on a different level. So Ill Will, Ilmac, Danny Myers, Bill Collector, Reed Dollaz, 40 bars. I mean, he made a show of it. And then all the other work where he's just as good. Charron is one of the absolute active best. I saw there was conversations going on about him maybe being the best white battle rapper of all time, which of course he has a good case for. And then I saw A-Ward said he might be the best battle rapper of all time. Let's slow down. Let's hold up. We can never do anything normal around here. Charron is an all-time great. He is an all-time great. No question about it. And he showed why last night.
But this is the type of run that like solidifies you maybe being a bit higher than wherever people might have had him before. Facts. I don't know if it, like, you know, if Charron was in that 20 to 30 range, a run like this where you're handling business all across the board, you're handling the lower tier, mid-tier names how you're supposed to, you're showing up for your big spots like you're supposed to. This is the type of run that makes you like, hold on now, wait, like how many people can I say are like actually better than Charron all time? So I would like to see Charron against someone who is, I feel like, really, really dangerous for him. Ilmac, I thought, would have been tough, but he handled that thoroughly. But I want to see Charron get a plate like an Av or a Real Sick, because I think that is like, I think Charron versus Av or Real Sick would be a huge test for Charron and a huge test for either of those guys.
Yeah, man, I feel the exact same way, where I think him and Av would be a fantastic battle because of, look at the momentum. These guys don't like losing. They just decided, I don't want to do that no more. Well, if they battle, somebody got to win and somebody got to lose, or at least we'll have a debate about it. So I think that's kind of like real unstoppable force versus immovable object. And I think Sick and Charron makes sense because of kind of Sick, who can battle absolutely anywhere, but we know, especially the times he has battled on King of the Dot, he's looked fucking like unbeatable. You know what I mean? So if that's a King of the Dot-esque matchup with a Charron and a Real Sick, I think Charron would beat Real Sick too. And look at the level of artists we're talking about and how good these guys have been recently. So nothing but respect. I'd also debate, you know, battle of the night happened in the main event, but Charron might have been the performance of the night. Individually, I feel almost pretty confident giving him that. And now, you know, he wasn't the only one rapping. Reed Dollaz was in the battle, and Reed, it started good, man. It started
so good. Reed's first round is great.
30. I knew it would be a 30, but Reed started where, even though Reed lost the first round, Reed Dollaz did like good Reed Dollaz things in the first. Like, it had fun energy to start the battle. And even if he has good material later, like he does sometimes here in the second, Reed just chokes away the battle. Like, Reed can't get through his second without stumbling. And I mean, he's choking like instantly. Like, he's like getting forwards in and having like a little like CTE pause, like just like bros froze. And then the second round, he got it back. The third round is the computer shut down. We couldn't get it back on. You know, we were hitting the thing on the side. It wasn't turning back on. So I don't know. And I believe, I forgot the exact statistic. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 now. I know France posted it.
It is 6 consecutive battles in which Reed has choked in. Look, guys. I'm someone that grew up on YouTube. I had YouTube around the majority of my childhood, majority of my life at this point. I remember watching Reed. Seeing the freestyles, everything. I remember.
He does battle next week, Coffee.
He does battle next week, Coffee.
I hope that as well. I hope he's decent. He is going to lose to Cortez, but I
We
hope.
we
I don't
we will get to that. But bro, Reed has been guilty of every battle rap crime for like the last like 5 years now, bro.
know.
Like the Nitty moment's cool. He got this really amazing out of nowhere win on Rum Nitty on Summer Madness. That's a fantastic accolade, fantastic stat. He's amazing in that battle. But after that, while there's some flashes, it's also a bunch of battle rap sins. It's no shows, it's chokes, it's recycles. He can't get through a battle without some sort of stumble or fumble. It's him getting bodied by Tay Rock and then deciding to then go on a whole tirade against the city of Philadelphia because they let Tay Rock rap too long. And only in Philly would they let something happen like that, where they would let my op do something and rap way over the time limit. And it's all this other nonsense. And it's just been bad and miserable for the last few years. Reed's always fun. I've always enjoyed Reed. Even if Reed isn't always winning his battles, I find him more fun than a lot of the older legends and nostalgia acts, if you want to say, that are still active in battle rapping. We all have a lot of love for Reed here, but Jesus Christ, dude, at some point here, it's like you maybe hang it up, take a break, reevaluate if you still actually want to battle rap. Because if this is 6 battles straight of behavior like this, clearly you don't want to battle. And I don't want to see you keep tarnishing your legacy like this. So I don't know, bro. I feel like we need to start reevaluating some things.
No, listen, I'm Reed Dollaz is one of my absolute favorite battle rappers of all time. I think last night, I mean, he's got one of the best deliveries the game has ever seen. And when he does get in his element, you know what I'm saying, gets in that real talk, especially, Reed says some profound shit you only see from the likes of like Calicos, you know, where they're able to turn like some real life applicable shit into a bar. But I'm aware that he is a name that also is kind of a layup here in 2025, and it is what it is. He's just walking around for a check. There's quite a few legends that we talk about that are kind of like that right now. I think the most common one is Charlie Clips. So it's unfortunate. I don't want to see Reed going out like this, but I see a world where he's going to keep getting booked in this facet, and I'm just not going to keep. I'm not going to keep doing the avalanche thing on Reed every time because we just know what it is. He's lost. You what? I know you. I know you will because you like to see me in pain. So that brings you a little bit of joy.
Like, bro, he's battling Cortez next week. And Cortez
he's gonna lose.
And Cortez and Ill Will was like a great performance. You can say Ill Will that Cortez beat a solid Ill Will. He's gonna beat the dog shit out of Cortez. We had about a Reed Dollaz. Like,
yeah, and here's France getting into some more Reed slander. Really appreciate that, big dog.
Yeah, but I put up this Reed Dollaz article last year on Let's Talk BattleRap.com about following the Tay Rock battle and Reed's behavior after that battle. It's not good, bro. It's not good.
Titus said someone said Hansel could neutralize Charron. I bet.
Did Hansel say that?
I bet it's someone that's in the spaces a lot. I don't know who tweeted it, but I bet it's someone that's in the spaces a lot, if I had to guess.
Reed sacrificed his powers for a second Super Bowl.
Super Bowl ring. Nah, Reed was a equal sacrifice.
Sacrificing his powers would be really noble if, like, he didn't just keep embarrassing himself. But
hey, but listen, speaking of washed up battle rappers, we had a 1 hour intermission leading into Big T versus Serious Jones.
Whew.
And Big T versus Serious Jones was quality-wise everything you'd expect from Big T versus Serious Jones. Yeah. This battle isn't good. It's not an easy watch. If you are into like the lyrical part of battle rap, if you're looking for rewind, this is not the one for you. No, it's not. But nothing unexpected happened, Q. Big T won this battle. That's the one thing I didn't expect to happen. Yeah. Big T has beaten a real name battle rapper for the first time in like 5 years. I'd say the Bill Collector win was the last time I remember Big T beating someone that like held weight. And now he's got a 3-0 win over Serious Jones, man. So we got to give him some credit there. How'd you feel about this monstrosity?
You know, like you said, if you're looking for good raps, if you're looking to enjoy yourself, there's not the battle for that. But rap battles, you do have to come away with someone that you thought was better than the other one, even if we all had a miserable time. And Big T was somehow better than
He was
Serious
funny.
Jones.
That's the one thing he won this battle off of jokes. The moments where he was literally just joking was the positives from this battle. Big T made me laugh my ass off, man. But that's
losing the 2025 Big T.
Yeah, I don't know what series, and I know Serious Jones is capable of these type of lows, but I didn't know it would get like. I really thought, for how little I thought of this battle going in, I still was pretty confident that Serious just has a little bit more where he's going to land a couple punches and do what he's going to do. But he got in like this super duper scheme bag, and the schemes were just, they weren't good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't enjoy. It's like when he did versus Geechee in that meltdown, like the whole like nut scheme, like that pistachio. Like, that's the Serious Jones that showed up for Big T. Big T had the jokes by him in the barber shop. It really wasn't nothing crazy, but he entertained the building. It did appear that he entertained the building. So if you bought a ticket to see Big T that day, it seems like the people there were pretty entertained. You know, we didn't really enjoy the performance all that much, but it's the first time in a minute that I've said that Big T has won a battle here. So I got to give him some credit there. 3-0 victory at that. But that was the low point of the night.
You like my fire. My life with you, baby.
Junction France.
I guess that was our intermission.
Yeah, that France, ladies and gentlemen. All right, but with that being said, that was the one low point, one bad battle of the night. K-Shine versus Shotty Horror, man. How'd you feel about it?
Man, this battle vastly exceeded my expectations in terms of like the quality from both sides. I never thought Shotty would be bad, but I walked away thinking, is this like the best Shotty I can ever remember, like enjoying on like a bar for bar lyrical front? I was like, what the fuck? Shotty's writing is kind of incredible in this battle. And Shine is Shine, and the energy is there. He's setting it off from the jump in his first round. The pop up like a Tubi commercial was fire. It's like Shine never left.
Walking around him and shit, like that was like
everything's on point.
Shine performing, bro.
Like, like the performance is there. The chain punching, the sneaky punching is all there. It's Shine like he never left. So if you wanted to see Shine do well, you got exactly what you were looking for. But I'm not sure anyone that isn't like a massive UK battle rap fan or a massive Shotty fan was like, man, I can't wait to see like how good Shotty is. And that's no disrespect to him, but I think the moment was meant to be about Shine. But Shotty was phenomenal in the battle. The knife to a windpipe like the Green Ranger is so crazy.
I'm going to use this little light of mine, and I'm going to let it shine. That shit was crazy, man. Shotty
the star shit, the star shit, the fraction of the shine that you used to be. He had so much shit. So I think this battle's phenomenal. I think that you may have like the battle a bit more than I do in terms of like the ranking of it as a quote unquote battle of the year contender. And like
battle. I think it's now I don't though. Here's the thing. I don't use the word battle of the year contender often, because in reality, there's only like 2 or 3 battles that compete for it. Like when you really get down to it, there's a lot of battles that were good. Yeah. You would put in a ranking, but it'll come down to really like 2 or 3. But I think that K-Shine versus Shotty Hora is a top 10 battle of 2025. I don't think it's at the top of the list. So no, it's not a contender, but I think in the 10, it's one of the 10 best battles that I've seen. And that's not what I envision for this. I envision Shotty being good and losing to like a great K-Shine. Instead, we got, in my opinion, a very good K-Shine, if not a great K-Shine, and a great Shotty horror. One of the best Shotty horrors in recent years. And I'm someone that watches a bit of UK battle rap. I watched Shotty versus Shuffle T, which caught, you know what I'm saying, wind a couple years ago. And that was a great showing. This was better than that. This is one of Shotty's best performances versus an American battle rapper, which I think is also saying something about how good Shotty was. So this is really one of those battles where you get every element of battle rap. It's a complete style clash, and both of them showed out. I loved it, man. But how are you calling it?
And the crowd was super responsive to Shotty. I do think it took a bit in the first round. He has some moments I think are fire that don't get a ton of reception, but I think he tried to set the tone with some humor. The crowd, it really wasn't sure how to tell you how to take to it, but once some of his bars start landing, the Green Ranger bar, the Mr. Beast bar, once he gets some momentum going, the crowd I think does start giving that proper respect to Shotty's material. I'm gonna say I think I got Shotty second and third. I think I got Shotty second and third in this battle, which is not something I expected to say coming out of this event. But super debatable battle, super high quality battle. But I think I have Shotty winning the second and third.
Yeah, I called it a little bit different, but I think it is super debatable. Where I'm seeing, I'd almost say, I'm not going to say the majority, but like such a healthy amount of Shotty 2-1 that it's like a truly debatable battle. I had Shine clearing the first, although Shotty's first is really good. So that's no disrespect to Shotty's first, but I thought Shine's first is one of his best rounds of the battle. I think most people would say it's best. I think his third has a debate, but his first was really good. And he was rapping longer, right? Because he did rap longer than Shotty every round. But Shotty did something that I think a lot of battlers who cry after the fact need to do in the moment. When he felt like the time wasn't being respected, he cut that shit off.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, in another country, right? You're away from your country and you're in like Shine's home in New York for his return battle where everyone's coming to see him. And he was like, nah, I know y'all want to see him, but fuck all that. And I mess with that, man. Because too many times after the fact, like, oh, well, they did this, they did that. Well, you stood there. You stood there and you just had a little grumpy face. Shotty was like, nah, you're going to stop rapping and respect to Shine, who probably knew what he was doing and respected it. And he stopped rapping. So that was like, honestly, that was controlled perfectly. I seen someone say in response when I tweeted about that, the host should handle that. I 100% agree. I want to go back to hosting like real timekeepers that are in charge of that because it makes the battle more watchable where we're not letting guys just like rap for 15 fucking minutes. But shout out to Shotty for the way he handled it and how Shine like kind of accepted it and you know what I'm saying, like made peace. But from there, the second round is super debatable to me, but I gave it to Shotty. The Green Ranger shit might be bar of the battle. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Knife dude went pipe like the Green Ranger was crazy. He had more shit in the second, but Shine had the you do pull-ups, I do pull-ups, but my sets never end. This battle's got quotable after quotable after
There's
quotable.
so many good bars in this battle.
Right, Shotty.
This is really good.
Yeah, I had it 1-1. And then you get to the third round of the battles where I disagree. People gave it to Shotty clear. I didn't think he got the third clear. If you got Shotty winning the third, I'm not mad, but I thought he ended it a little weird, like freestyle-y too. But still, overall, a great round. But I thought it was some of Shine's best content. He addressed a little bit of URL, a little bit of the pain that was going on in his life outside of the ring, but only for a bit because most of the round is still directed at Shotty, performing his ass off. You know, like it's a mix-up of styles. Shotty was definitely more lyrical. Definitely like probably wrote a little better, but Shine outperformed him and still was matching PK makers for PK makers. So I got Shine 2-1 edge, first clear, third edge, but anyone's got Shotty second and third. I'm not mad at you. I think this is a fantastic look for both of them on their return. I think they both looked amazing in this battle.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like one, obviously the big story is Shine and seeing Shine throw a decently received event where we're saying that we had a fun time here and that Shine was good. Shine was great. So we want to see more Shine again. Shine didn't look out of form. So now the question begs to be, what do you want to see Shine do next? And I mentioned before that some of the names are probably a bit of the unrealistic type because of all the other circumstances and circus that surrounds it. Like a Briz Rothstein is not a battle rapper. So like we should leave that alone and stop trying to get Briz Rothstein to come out because he just doesn't want to battle. Daylight is a whole circus within itself to try to book Daylight. So maybe Shine and Daylight isn't exactly possible. And we've seen how left all the Shine and Twerk stuff went. Now maybe that can be revisited and we
That's
can
the
get
one
Shine
that
and Twerk.
everyone wants
Yeah,
Shine and Twerk.
yeah. If we can get Shine and Twerk next year, I think that'll be a massive, massive battle for battle rap. But if we're not getting any of those three, I'm gonna be honest. I want to see Shine and A-Ward.
Yeah,
I want to see Shine and A-Ward.
I've been saying the same. I think that's one of those where, okay, the return, I know he wanted a specific name value, but even the fact that people didn't love the Shotty matchup, even though Shotty obviously is like the GOAT of another scene and still someone that's done work over here versus our legends, but that wasn't even received well. Look at what type of battle it turned into. So I know that Shine, and it should always, for the most part, be top tier opponents. You know what I'm saying? But every battle, like, don't go chasing like this Briz Shine unrealistic level of hype when you could battle A-Ward. I would like to see Shine versus Fonz, kind of honor when Fonz was chasing him after UM1 at the time. Now Fonz is really, he'd still be given a shot in a sense, but Fonz is doing nothing but beating top tier battle rappers. Look, we just did the John, T-Top, Bill Collector also. So Shotgun Shug, etc. So I'd love to see Fonz and Shine. I wouldn't even be mad at something like K Shine versus Big K. And I know that people like there's not like storyline for this, but there was no storyline for Shotty and Shine, and everyone made all this big deal. Look what type of battle it was. A-Ward,
Yeah.
Big K, Fonz, these are either legends or some of the best active right now. I'd love to see Shine, like, even if there's not tons of humongous matchups right now for him that make a lot of sense, there is work out there for him. So I hope to see Shine at least 2 or 3 times a year, kind of moving forward, man, like easing his way back in, because it was fantastic seeing him live last night. He's one of the best performers of all time. He looked just like it. And I did. Yeah,
Yeah, and
big
then on the
battle. Yeah.
on the Shotty front though, I think Shotty kind of comes out of this battle with his stock maybe the highest it's been in a long time. And Shotty is Shotty. We can't stress enough how the type of legend that he is, not just in like obviously in battle rap, but to his region and scene in particular, where he is just the man out there. Where now it's like, oh, do I want to see Shotty versus more of the big name US guys? Now does it add more intrigue if we eventually get to see that Shotty versus Gemini matchup? And now is that like more sought after? But I think people want to see Shotty versus the likes of like the Rocks and Twerks and all that stuff even more now. I'm not sure if those battles can ever get revisited because of like some of the past tension that exists with all that stuff. Hopefully that stuff is a little bit more smoothed over and not as bad. But I'd love to see Shotty versus more of these US guys. Shotty versus Calico is interesting. That's a good rapping.
Dead Bob, I think that was pretty good one. I think that Calico said he wants to battle Shotty Horror too. I think he might have actually said something about that. I'm not mad at Shotty.
That's a good rapping ass battle. But no, I think Shotty is now in a space where people that weren't as familiar or didn't recognize how good Shotty was, or they just recognized the name of Shotty and didn't recognize the talent level. Shotty is dope, and I think that Shotty is going to now be in a position where some of these big battles might slide across his desk, and people might want to see him more often.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm looking, it's a good card when after the fact, really the main combos we had last night and even now, who should Charron battle next? Who should Shine battle next? You know what I'm saying? Who should Shotty battle next? Like, they were so good. You're excited to see what they're going to do next. That's what battle rap should bring. That's the next combos that start, is where do they go from here? And I feel like we have less and less of those after the event because so many battles pop up. But especially since these are all artists we see a little bit more rare, which maybe goes to show like oversaturation probably hurting us a little bit. I don't see Charron as often. Definitely not Shine or Shotty. So now I'm like, okay, what's next? And all three of them I'm looking forward to, and I can think of matchups for them. So I'm going 7 out of 10 for the card, man. Limited card. Production was good in a lot of areas, bad in runtime, and one of the 4 battles is bad. So you really have 3 battles, and one of them was lopsided at that too. You know what I mean? But there was enough there. I enjoyed myself, and I'm happy for K-Shine, because doing this as a first-time event runner, a lot of battlers lose the first time they throw their event. That's a historical thing. So to be that good, I'm really blown away. Even for it only being a 7 out of 10, considering what I thought this could be, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Any more thoughts on Rebirth of a Culture, or you want to move on? Because we got a real busy
There's a
slate
lot
of
of cards
battle rap
weekend.
next week.
But just shout out to K-Shine, because we gave him a lot of critique, and it was deserved critique, but this is deserved praise. And now we can get into next weekend, man. What's the lineups looking like, Q?
There's a lot of battle rap.
It's almost argue too much battle rap for one weekend. But,
we got Docq Row versus the Billionaires. We got the Trenches Nastyalgia card. We got Public Influence. We have a bunch of interesting battles. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't care how many of these events Easy to Block Captain runs. I'm never saying that name correctly. It's never happening. It's gonna be nasty.
That's a dyslexic title. There's no question. Like you could just change it. I promise you, people have done sillier shit in battle rap and no one cares, man.
Yeah, I'm not doing this.
If you want to go over that card first, it's the quickest. I think it's the smallest card, and
it's the smallest card because the battle that I was looking forward to the most in terms of like the battle quality or how good I thought the battle would be got taken off. Authentic versus Muwap is no longer happening. So it's very
good match too. Even though it's not high tiers, I thought it was like I saw why that battle made sense, and it was disheartening for Authentic to back out. And I guess the reason is he just couldn't come up with things to write. And I think that it makes me want to see you less when we're backing out of battles for dumb shit like that.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on.
I don't know what that is.
Who said that? Is that the story?
That's the reason that came out. Yeah, that's Muwap was saying. I mean, Authentic didn't disprove it. Apparently, that's what I think Authentic told Easy is like I just couldn't come up with shit to write for him, so I'm not doing the battle. That's interesting, you know. Yeah,
I'm gonna hope that he has nothing going on in his personal life that is inhibiting him from his writing process. Because maybe there's personal things going on. But if it's just straight up, you couldn't write
like just boredom. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
That's crazy as shit. If that's all, that's fucking crazy.
And if that's not real Authentic, if you see this, speak out, because that's all we've seen so far in terms of what it is. And then some people were like, oh. I know the usual conspiracy shit, like, oh, URL wouldn't let their guy. Like, guys, like, when was the last time Authentic was booked on URL?
I'm about to say, like, with all due respect, I'm not sure they particularly care about the endeavors that Authentic might be embarking on. I'm just not sure that's at the top of the priority list. With all due respect.
So we missed that battle, but then from there we got 5 battles. I think we're both calling most of these clear, so I think we should be able to go through this pretty quick. But the one battle I'm looking forward to on the card, I actually think Snake Eyes versus Bill Collector could be pretty good. I had my reserves about it too, and because they haven't both been that consistent lately. But Trenches setting seems to bring extra motivation out of certain battle rappers. I could see a world where Bill versus Snake Eyes is good, but otherwise, I got most of this card clear. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I echo the clear sentiment. I think that Snake versus Bill will be the most competitive battle on the card. I have Snake Eyes winning that battle. Since we're there already, I am predicting Snake Eyes 2-1 in that battle. I know that Snake Eyes just lost to real name Brandon. That wasn't a good look, but just seeing Snake Eyes' appearances after that battle, it seemed like, from his own words, he had some stuff going on. He traveled across the country, so like maybe he just wasn't in like his best writing mental space going into the real name Brandon battle. Might not have been super interested in that battle, as opposed to getting to battle a bigger name like Bill Collector, getting a home game, being on Trenches where you've kind of like made some name for yourself too. He's also not on the Riot, but Trenches could be like maybe a more at home feel and setting, especially since this card is in New York. So
Bill was in the Trenches too. Yeah. And Snake, both times they've been on the Trenches, they've been like very good, like better versions of themselves than usual. Yeah.
So I have Snake winning this battle because I'm a little less enthused with Bill's recent form over the last almost a year. This kind of started with the JC battle. So really for like the last year or so, I haven't been happy with Bill's recent form. So I have Snake Eyes winning this battle 2-1. Close battle.
Yeah, I have Bill Collector 2-1. Snake Eyes is not a notorious winner of battles. It's that simple for me. I think he will do good in the battle. I think he's one of those guys though, like Bad News was before we got him the fuck up out of here. Like Steam's kind of is, where top tiers just tend to really show up. Like top tier battle rappers just don't want to lose to Snake Eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to hear about it after the fact. So more times than not, and this is something that I disagree with Snake on a lot, but I agree, he tends to get really good versions of the top tiers that he ends up facing. And I think that while that works out good for the footage, works against him, because even though Snake Eyes can be pretty good when he gets to his like best form, he's not as good as some of these names. So I think Bill Collector will win 2-1. But if Snake won 2-1, I wouldn't be super surprised because of how Bill's been. And we both agreed that that's a good battle. But the rest of the card, Lee LND versus BMB to Don, I think it is. I've seen Lee in passing. This is one of those that we'll just see what happens. I don't really have a winner because I'm not familiar enough with either of them. Unp versus Rosenberg. I got Rosenberg winning. We just talked about Core and Reed during Reed's kind of segment a second ago. I believe that we both have Cortez probably winning all the rounds versus Reed Dollaz. And then Easy versus Head Ice is the main event. I'm excited to see Easy rap. I think he's going to be really good. I think Head Ice, this is can crushing. I think he's going to smoke Head Ice. So that's really my full thoughts on it. And I feel like you probably agree with most of that as well. But
I mean, look, only thing that I particularly care about here, I think Easy and Head Ice won't be close, but in the event that Easy and Head Ice is somehow perceived as a close battle, I'll be honest with you, dog. I'm gonna start having a lot of questions about Easy block captain.
Yeah, Easy. This is one of those where people are gonna accept like, oh no, he got a rare form Head Ice, and no. You're supposed to win this battle.
Yeah,
you're supposed to win it.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you, dog. Like this is not one where I can accept a close battle here. I don't think it'll be close, but if Easy to block captain and Head Ice is a close battle, I'm gonna have a lot of questions about Easy there, and I don't want to have these questions because even in some of these losses or spots where they've been debatable battles with him, like say like the Suge and Jude as a loss, I think he's really good versus Suge. I think he's mostly pretty good versus Gotti. I think he's really good versus John. Dropped the ball versus Clips, but even in some of these more controversial battles, I think he's pretty dope. But yeah, man, you better not lose no fucking Head Ice, bro. Not in Big 2025. Can't be doing that.
And if there's only one more thing I have to say about this card, because Rose and Unp I don't have huge thoughts on. I mean, Unp beat Reed last time he was here. Everyone's doing that. But I mean, like, it could be a decent battle, but I just think like Rosenberg should win that battle too. Cortez putting together a pretty good year. I could see, we know Cortez is more than likely going to win, but I could see Cortez winning and being one of the standouts of this card. Like you walk away talking about some like maybe Easy and Head Ice because of Easy's performance or whatever happens with it. Bill Collector and Snake, the most competitive battle, and maybe Cortez is one of those standout performers that like smoked the shit out of Reed Dollaz. So overall, it's whatever. This is how I felt about the first Nastyalgia card. This is how I feel now looking at this one. I hate the series title. I think the battles are kind of like a cool theme, but I don't feel anything too special about it. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna have a big ice headache. I hope you don't got Head Ice winning. I hope that's not what that.
Listen, some people wake up and say I'm gonna go with fentanyl, man. So people make crazier decisions. Do what you gotta do. He needs a few solid wins to make a surf return battle make sense. He needs a body right now. You know, I think there's a lot of things that implies where it's like, would he like? I don't know if Easy and Surf would even make the business make sense. I think that'd just be one of the biggest battles no matter what. But he's coming off the Swamp win. He should body Head Ice. Like, that's very capable of happening. So I'm not mad at some of the sentiments there, but I think if a Surf and Easy battle does happen, I don't really think, like, you know, him losing to Suge recently is going to dictate that. If that's the biggest plate to make and the business makes sense, they're going to do that shit. And I still love that battle if they can make that happen.
Yeah.
All right.
We can move on to the next one. We can talk about the
we'll see France Fuck it.
Final destination.
Yep. This has been the Geechee Gotti. There was a Geechee Gotti tournament, like a road to Geechee Gotti. I guess this guy, FATX, Fat X. I don't know if it's Fate a lot of different ways to interpret that. But he's battling Geechee Gotti. I don't know. I haven't really heard much about him. Have you? I don't know much
No,
about
I've
this.
not. I have not. Okay, well, this is one of the times why I'm not familiar with this individual.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess that's the headliner there. But the undercard, which looks like it's in fine print from this picture, but if you can see it, it's actually really good. There's a ton of like top tier names on this card. I'm a little worried because they had it like this for the first few cards of the tournament where they shot it in like VR and those battles never hit YouTube. I need these battles to come out. Like, there's enough good matchups here. Like, A Ward and JC is something that, like, if this gets lost up footage wise, I will be very pissed off. It's going to be pay per view. All right, maybe that's not something to not worry about them, which is good. But Q, there's good battles here. A Ward versus JC,
Oh, that's a big
Av
one.
versus Chilla Jones, Rum Nitty versus Ness. What's some of your favorites when you look at it?
One of my favorite smaller league Nitty battles ever is Nitty versus Nestle. Like, that was just like fun ass time. And I think Nitty versus Ness could be part of like that similar vein. I think Nitty and Ness could be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to that. A Ward and JC has like some actual kind of stakes there.
Yeah,
It's one of those battles that I've wanted to see for a long time that has some actual stakes. So I'm very fascinated by that one. One for me, well, I guess there's a couple that maybe have like some kind of code implications, but Payne versus T-Top is an interesting one because Payne had a good showing versus Cortez. Had Cortez winning, but a solid enough showing as to where if someone argues for Payne, I don't think that's wrong at all. And he just cleared show. And I think
not the
that
craziest
T-Top,
battle, but he beat him.
yeah, not the craziest performance either, but Payne was solid. Had a dope third round. I say that to say that I think that after next weekend, Payne will walk away being able to say that he has clearly beat Suge and T-Top, because I think T-Top is going to also go in there in a donation, very generous spirit.
He's giving out W's.
So yeah, so I think Payne's gonna walk away from next weekend being able to say that he debatably beat Cortez, Suge, and T-Top.
Yeah,
and I find that very fascinating.
Good. He's got to rap good too, because the thing is, like, Cortez battle, he raps good, right? And the Suge battle, he was solid, but it's definitely going to be more interpreted by the public as like Suge didn't give a fuck, so his opponent won.
Yes.
But Payne's actually solid. If he's good in this battle versus a T-Top who very well couldn't care, who knows? But T-Top last year cared on his little league plate, so T-Top just very randomly decides when he's going to give a fuck and when he's not. But for the most part this year, outside of the hustle performance, he has 3 battles he hasn't really given a fuck in. So it's fair to assume Payne's going to do good. And I think there's, like you said, that's 3 top tier wins. I don't know. Is it one of the most riveting runs in battle rap? You know, it's not going to be talked about like obviously some of the top ones, but Payne's truly had like the definition of an underrated year so far. I think Twerk is going to smack up Mac Myron if that battle goes down. I don't think that's going to be close, but it could be decent.
If that battle happens, that might be violent.
Yeah, I just don't think like, because here's the thing about Twerk this year. Twerk been no showing, been doing some shit that we don't like, right? But when Twerk has shown up to his battles, he's not had like a choking, like stereotypical, like I don't give a fuck Twerk performance. Like we're actually yet to see that in the 5 or 6 battles that he's had. So if he shows up for Mac, I'm expecting him to be locked in enough to beat Mac Myron. It's kind of funny how that works, like the unreliability of New Jersey Twerk, and like it's a whole, I don't think we've ever quite seen that with the talent. Maybe Surf is like that in a way, like where he only shows up on URL and it's complicated. But I expect Twerk to win if he is going to show up. How do you feel about Av versus Chilla? I like that battle. I ain't gonna lie.
I like that battle. This one, I feel like I would have been more excited for if it happened like last year. I feel like last year I was interested in that battle.
I agree.
But it's still a very, very solid battle with 2 top tier names. Chilla is interesting as to where I haven't been super enthused with any of his performances dating back to last year versus Rex, this year versus Verb. I haven't been over the moon about any of the Chilla that I have seen recently, but maybe with how dangerous Av is, that could light a spark with him. I'm not sure, but I got Av winning this battle clearly just based on Av's recent form. But Chilla's respectable and dangerous enough as maybe Chilla makes this battle super duper competitive. But Av has been a steamroller, so I think Av runs this battle pretty clearly.
Yeah, I have Av winning, but two things. One, if Chilla can reach, it's a level he hasn't reached in quite some time. But like Chilla does have the style that could beat an Av. Like a real rapidy pen, show the difference maybe in complexity of writing when it's going to be bar heavy. Like a classic Chilla Jones performance can absolutely be Av, but you know, Av has battled a lot of people of Chilla's name level, if higher in some situations, and he's smoking them. So you just haven't seen anything recently. Also worry a bit about just the battle because they're both not the most electrifying battle rappers. Like people have critiqued them maybe for pace, boredom at times. I don't feel that way, but I know like sometimes in the building they get that reception. Yeah. And that's two very monotone battle rappers playing off of each other. So I got Av winning, but that's like top tier action. And then you said it best, bro. A Ward versus JC, low key the main event of this card in my eyes. Like it's not, but A Ward versus JC is the most important battle here. And I have JC was good, but we did just say he lost to Nick G.
He lost to Nick G. And he's battling a week later. Like
A-Ward's not losing battles this year, and he sure as fuck is not losing no battles to Nick G. No respect to Nick G, but we're talking like these guys have to be held to a certain expectation. That's what comes between top tier battle rappers. So where JC can give up a loss nowadays versus like giving a shot or something like that, A-Ward is staying locked in across the board. I got A-Ward possibly clearing JC, but I think this could be a really good battle. I honestly do. How are you calling it?
I think this could be really good, but I do lean toward your side of A-Ward potentially clearing this battle. A-Ward has not been as active as JC, at least in like say like the last week. JC battled yesterday, battling again next week. So maybe JC was a solid but not great versus Nick G because he's so locked in for A-Ward. Maybe. Who knows? But based off of recent form and things like that, I do have A-Ward winning this battle. And this is a funny battle because I think these are guys that now with their careers, you can maybe make cases for them being like, who's in the top 5 of the Midwest all time? Because you have to like factor in other guys who fell off or their careers don't have the same sort of like longevity or consistency. So we can't responsibly put Young Ill or B Magic in a top 5 because it's like, you know, without going through the rest of the names because those guys lack the consistency. So after we get to names like Calico, Verb, Hitman, then you get to Ill Will. I think Ill Will,
JC, and Ward. That's probably some of the people you're talking about.
So after that, I think that you can say that this is maybe a fight to see who's gonna claim that top 5 spot in the Midwest.
I like that a lot. Yeah, you added like imaginary but like feasible stakes to this. We're definitely going to discuss this as this battle comes up. So I like that, man. A-Ward versus JC. People have been waiting to book it for a minute. I think it almost happened on Calico's league in the first few cards. So you know, this is one of those where don't really know this league. I would love to see A-Ward versus JC on something like that. Fits Cal's card perfect. Like, I get worried when leagues just pick up battles like this that we really like, because if something happens with production, we are going to be pissed. So they need to handle this properly. But, you know, we both got A-Ward in what should be an interesting battle. I have Tay-Rock beating Quest, but I think Quest will be good. I think that's as simple as I can put that.
I hope Quest does well.
Right.
I hope Quest does well. Quest has been good. Quest has been good in these battles against Nitty, against Danny. Quest has been good in some of these spots over the last few years. I think this can be a competitive battle, but I hope that for the sake of the people that fight for Quest so passionately, that Quest does well in this battle, which I'm sure he will.
Yeah, whenever something happens with like a Quest or a Marv or something, we tend to hear a little bit more about it. But we do really respect what Quest's one-on-one work has been. I have him losing, not all by any means, and some are debatable, but like I have him more on the losing side of some of these matchups versus top tiers recently. Av, Danny, Nitty. But I like Quest in all those battles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Quest is good. I think he takes a round in all of those battles. I think this is another example. Quest will probably take a round. It will be one of the better battles of the night. But I just think Tay-Rock's going to be locked in too, as he is for everyone. And there's just a higher level that he can reach. So I got Tay-Rock beating Quest, but it should be good. Coffee should walk Eon. Not even like just beat. Like, she should beat Eon by a lot.
She should. She should.
I think she's gonna. I think I'm gonna go with that. I think I'm going Coffee 3-0.
For Eon's sake, I would hope that Coffee is a little distracted with her crusade against Yoshi G and her commitment to raining down terror.
She's gonna do it every day. You see that? She said she's gonna do Coffee.
Yeah, so maybe for Eon's sake, Coffee just is really committed to harassing Yoshi G. So that might give her a bit of a chance, but Coffee usually handles business against the lower tier women. Eon's talented. I've liked Eon every time that I've seen her for the most part, but Coffee handles business in spots like this. I think Coffee will handedly win that battle.
That's fair. And then Rum Nitty versus Ines, you kind of spoke on it. I think Nitty's gonna win. But then again, Ines and Tay-Rock, look at how close of a battle that was. And that ended up being like one of the lone bright spots on T-Top's card. So Ness is showing me he can get in this entertainer heavy, but still land a true haymaker here and there. Like the content was there. I got Rum Nitty 2-1. Could be like a Rum Nitty Gentleman's even. But I think I'm going to enjoy this. I think I'm going to enjoy this Ines performance quite a bit. I think I'm going to enjoy this Nitty performance quite a bit. And it's a battle I got some respect for, man. I'm liking some things they got going down in this card. This should be a decent one.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Nitty and Ines at all. I don't ever go into a Ines battle predicting a winner because I feel like honestly the winner part is not really what's important with the Ines battle. To be honest, I think everyone whenever it's Ines, I feel like we're here to have fun. We're gonna have a good time. And I feel like that's typically provided. So I feel like Nitty and Ness are going to be a fun battle. We got those out the way. And we do have one more card. We have Docq Row versus Billionaires Syndicate.
Yeah, which I believe. Shout out Doc, man. I think this is Doc's putting this together for his birthday as well.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
This is like also Doc's birthday weekend.
And this is for anyone that likes new talent, bro. And obviously, like one thing people could say a lot about Doc, but one thing he does above all is he's really tried hard over the years to prioritize pushing new talent. Like you need people in any sport that love development more than anything. There's people in basketball that just love college basketball. There's people in football that just love college football and love seeing people grow. And Doc's kind of one of those people that's always giving an opportunity for, like new talent to shine or finding a way to brand them. So you guys might not be familiar with all the names on here, but I know that most people know Eunice versus Los Prime. And I think Justice versus Wusa is another one with the noise Justice has made, where those two battles I think might bring in some eyes that know them. And maybe you'll catch a couple other names here that I don't even know everybody on this card. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, there's also like we mentioned that the other one's a pay-per-view. Obviously, Trenches is a pay-per-view. That other card is a pay-per-view. This one is a free live stream on Twitch. So once the stream is up, there's no paywall there. You guys can watch it for free. And on top of all the stuff that's on the flyer that will go through that interest us. There is also Ace Amin versus Tex Sago. That's not on the flyer. It might be the best battle on the card. That might wind up being really, really good. So there's a lot that I find interesting here. A lot that can be solid. Again, not everyone here is familiar with a bunch of these names, so I don't think that we're going to go through and predict every single thing here. Maybe just the stuff that interests us. And I think that starts with the main event with Eunice versus the newish iBattle champion after beating Eunice's 2-on-2 partner Appa, Los Prime. Los Prime is also currently in the finals of the Captain's Cup, so I think that is in a few weeks as well. Eunice versus Los Prime. Smo, this has been a battle that I think we've been interested in for a long time now. It's finally here. Eunice Los Prime, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's kind of like this like trio across different leagues with like Eunice, King, and Los Prime. They all kind of they're all different, but they all hold similar types of like categorical styles, like in terms of like the back-to-back punching and shit like that. And obviously we saw Low Supreme versus King, banger, it was fire. So now you get the other side of that with Eunice versus Low Supreme, and then hopefully we get Eunice and King one day to kind of complete the trifecta.
Yeah.
But I definitely like it. I like that it's a headliner spot where there's newer talent under it, but for what this card is, like, it makes sense for this to be like the thing that it's based around. And I think that this is going to be one. If you love this punchline era, you are going to love the hell out of this battle. You know what I'm saying? But I do think Eunice has grown into just more of an all-around talent at this point. I mean, we're watching him rock a gnome stage, and Low Supreme has been doing as good as ever, but I haven't seen like there's definitely been some development in Los's game, but I don't think there's been like a huge metamorphosis where the Appa battle was really good, but you could really still, even though he won, judged, understand that, you could still debate Appa won. I thought he showed probably a little bit more like all around facets of battle rap. And like, I haven't seen a Lowe's performance. It's like, okay, well, now he's right on the brink of like top tier. Like Eunice is really like a couple like other big showings away from that. I just think he's a more experienced, battle tested talent at this point. So I'm going Eunice 2-1, but Lowe's Preem definitely has the capabilities of winning. And this really should be battle of the night, to be honest. Like it should be battle of the night, but this is a fun one, man. This is one that'll have fun energy. Crowd will be engaged for this one. 100%. I'm pretty sure anyone that's going to be at this event, this is one where you don't got to worry about some boredom or any of that. I think they're going to be really locked in. And then, of course, it's free. So I got Eunice 2-1, though, man. I feel pretty confident in that.
I'm going to go out on a limb. As much as I like the battle and I'm anticipating the battle, I think Eunice might smoke Preem. And I'm a big Preem fan. I've been a big Preem fan for a few years now. But I do think Eunice has consistently shown growth and development as a talent that Preem, despite being one of the best in that kind of punchline lane and adding a little bit of real life talk to his content as well, I think there is a gap in the content that they create. And I think there's added motivation with this being a team versus team themed card, with the constant comparisons of the trio, like you said, of Eunice, King, and Preem, and for the fact that Preem did just beat Appa as well. So I think with everything going on and what I perceive Eunice's talent level to be, maybe Preem rises to the occasion. But I feel like Eunice might clearly walk away with the W here. And Eunice has faced bigger names and bigger competition, but if Eunice comes down back to his class, so to speak, and clearly handles business there, I think that firmly establishes that Eunice he's a cut above the rest of the guys that are thought of to be in his age range, experience level, class, whatever. And I think that would be Eunice is above all that. No more class versus class for a little bit. Like Eunice is above all of this.
Yeah, and the only other person who I think is kind of in the realm that's like has some momentum, I don't think to the level of Eunice, but somewhere around there is Wusa, who really on the only other battle of the card that I really have any stock in, to be honest with you. I'll watch the rest, but these are the top two. These are the ones really the ones of value, I feel like, is Justice versus Wusa. And I think people have definitely become accustomed to Wusa, but I think on the flip side, Justice would be my vote for Rookie of the Year as of right now. And then people were like, well, what's your criteria for Rookie of the Year? I'm not doing all that. I get it. It's not concrete. He's been battling for a few years, but this is the year that I think Justice is starting to actually become a name to like the masses for them. Like some people are starting to learn. He battled Lou Castro. He battled Hansel. Both of those were pretty good performances, free streams. You're just starting to hear a little bit more about him. And he is for real good. Like he battles a lot at home. He battles very safely when he battles on Westworld, but the shit is genuinely good. Like he's improved his game a lot. So he's kind of earned his way to this Wusa plate in a weird newer guy ranking kind of way. And I think Justice and Wusa is going to be a really good battle too.
Yeah, I think Wusa and Justice is very, 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 very strong.
Jason, thanks my bad. I'd be forgetting they added that.
Yeah, and one where I have a problem picking a winner. Honestly, I don't know who I have winning Wusa. And Justice. I think that Wu's reached higher highs, so I kind of think that from that perspective, Wu should win this battle. But we have seen Wu maybe have a couple of stumbles here and there. Not that that's a pattern for him, but maybe Wu isn't clean. I've seen Justice be clean for the majority of his career that I've watched. So if there's a separation, maybe it's that. But this is a battle where I genuinely don't know who I have winning. And I think that's the mark of you booking something really strong when you're like, man, I don't really even know who I got winning this battle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Wusa 2-1 because I'm just gonna err on that side of experience, but being that I know what this environment's gonna be like, very equal playing field for both battlers. Like the people there to show love absolutely will be there to show love for both. So I'm gonna go Wusa 2-1 edge, but I agree. I think it's gonna be a debatable battle. And then as France reminded me, there is Ace versus Tech. So there is another battle that intrigues me on this card to a little
Yeah.
bit more of like a really matters for kind of like career trajectories kind of level of known talents. But Tex has to be good in this battle because Tex lost to Ishmula for no reason. I don't know why he did. I don't even know why he took that battle. I didn't think that was the first look after leaving the trenches. That was a great look. You took him on the road. For whatever reason, you super respected the time limit. You didn't cut him off. Let's listen to Shotty Horror, people. Shotty Horror should start a trend. When people are doubling your time, cut the motherfucking round, man. But Ishmula probably 30 techs. And I know people got respect for Ish and think he slept on, but I think if Tex really wants to be like a real talent and live up to some of that hype he was getting, he has to win battles like that and surely at the least make it debatable. So he got cleaned up. He's got to be great versus Ace, or I could see real quick that Tex hype will be gone like that. And
Oh,
we'll
yeah, no.
like
Tex cannot afford to get cleaned up here.
not at all.
And
He can't even
like,
afford to lose. I think this
yeah,
needs to at the very least be debatable.
yeah, look, I like Tex. I've liked Tex in all the battles that I've seen from him, and I don't wish him uh any hard times in his endeavors away from the trenches because he's talented enough to make it and do well in these battles on his quote unquote on his own. My thing is, I do think that Tex is super duper new, super duper new, less than 10 battles to his name, that kind of stuff. And when you're facing guys who are as tenured and as battle tested as a Ishmula or even an Ace by this point is, that just because you're the new hot name doesn't mean that you should be favored to win any of these battles, especially in a case like Tex, where respectfully, Tex hasn't actually like won any of his battles. They've been good battles. I've enjoyed these battles, but like I don't think he beat Riggs. I don't necessarily think he beat Snake Eyes. I don't think he like beat more. Like I don't like more move up, whichever one he battled. Like I don't think he beat those guys, even if they're good battles that I enjoyed. He hasn't been a winner yet. So I'm not totally shocked that he lost to Ishmula because he's still new and hasn't been a winner yet. And then we're facing someone now who, despite his faults and inconsistencies, that Ace is proven to be competitive against guys like Danny Myers and Rum Nitty. This is a hard test for Tex right now. So in a situation where Ace shows up and is clean and has raps, or shows up, or whatever else is going on, that's a tough battle. So we might be looking at a rough month for Tex if he doesn't go out and either leave with like a battle of the night or a win here, because very quickly we went to 0-2.
Not 100%, but Ace has his own inconsistencies. Honestly, this is the type of battle where I got not 100% sure. Ace and Hansel ended up going down after reschedule. I hope this one ends up going down. I'll go Ace 2-1. I've been kind of erring on the side of experience for this whole card, and I don't think I'm going to end it there. So I'll go Ace 2-1 over Tex. Not impossible for Tex to win. I think that they match up great stylistically, so I hope it's good. So from Eunice Preem to Justice Wusa to Ace Tex, you should be happy about that. For free, people will definitely tune in for that. Rest of the card queue, I know most of these artists. I just don't have very passionate opinions on how these battles are going to go. So is there anything else that you can run through the predictions real quick, or do you have anything else that catches your eye?
Not anything super crazy. I mean, I like Jack Boy and Zeke because I enjoy Zeke, and he's been with someone where I think he's one of the better guys that is not under a contract or on a major platform as of right now.
He's
And
okay.
with what Jack's recent form has been, I feel like Zeke could walk away like with a real highlight reel kind of moment or performance
That's
on
fair.
Jack. I always like seeing Foots. So even if Foots versus Mozzie isn't the most interesting battle in the world to me, I'm a Foots guy. So I'm happy to see Foots on the card. And
If you watch this, Q is at least in your top 5 fans, man. I'm not saying he's number 1, but Q, I tell you, we be in the war room, and Q be defending your honor, man. So, I think he should win that battle though. Foots is good for a good performance. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. I guess another one here that I think is probably interesting is Ghost versus Nakim the Prophet. I've seen Ghost a few different times. I think Ghost is solid. I am not a Nakim the Prophet fan. It throws it. I'm just not into it. Hasn't worked for me. But it is something where with Ghost being like having being part of Docq Row and then having I think like the Young Cannon battle that happened recently for him last year. There is a little bit of momentum for him. I think I'm pretty sure he was in the last Crucible phases and all that stuff like last year. I'm pretty sure he was in it. So I think Ghost is solid. Nakim is one of the top iBattle guys right now. I'm just not a big Nakim guy. Nakim isn't a giant fan of you. I think for messing his name up by mistake one day.
Earlier, I mean, like, listen, this is we have printed out 150 punchers over the last 2 years in battle rap, and I just think he's like another one of them. I don't think he's like a bad battle rapper or anything. I remember like then he had his opportunity versus Fonz where he'd been punching it to my battle talent. It's always punch offs, and then he got towards Fonz, and then I think he choked for like 3.5 minutes. Like a cartoonish. It's one thing to choke and lose the battle if it's a big battle for you. I mean, some people have not showed up in their biggest moments. Doesn't make them bad battlers, but like just anything after talking about all the respect that he deserves, I just think he's a guy. So when he pops up on the card, like I don't expect a bad performance, but I don't expect much. So he could beat Ghost, but Ghost's been around for a minute, man. Ghost's been around for a minute. He's got a little bit of a different style. So. I don't know. Katie's on here. Katie should be Mallory X. More like
Katie should be Mallory X.
But that's pretty much all I recognize for real.
Yes, but that's it. But again, this is a live stream that's for free and has like a pretty solid top 3 battles on here, showcasing newer talent. And I don't think there's anything to complain about there, especially when the stream is for free. So shout out to Docq and Syndicate Billionaires for putting this together because this is like a nice little team versus team theme event that has some stakes to it. So
and 3 events on one weekend though, because I think Trenches and Doc's event are going to run at the same time. We could do better. We could just do a little bit better battle rap than having 3 events with battles of value scattered across every card, like happening kind of simultaneously. I think maybe the public influence card happens that Sunday, but that's just a lot of battle rap. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be that way, but there's still things that every card, has to offer. And as we do at LTBR, no matter if it's too much, too little, no matter how much battle rap there is to cover, we're going to cover it, man. So you should see what's going on with us. Public influence is Saturday. The next 2 are on Sunday. Same shit, different, circumstances. So, but no, we got some good stuff coming up. Good weekend of battles, a little bit of bullshit too. Darkness this morning from Coffee. And then we got some good raps next weekend, man. So we gear up for August and September, which are supposed to be some really good battle rap months. So we got a lot coming on here on the Let's Talk Battle Rap page channel. J-Small reviews. I'm gonna be doing my recaps, man. I'm sure we'll be doing some writing. Any final thoughts, Q?
No, that's it. I think we covered everything pretty effectively here. Thank you all for tuning in on Twitter and or YouTube, wherever you guys are watching from. Make sure you visit letstalkbattlerap.com. I'm sure with like a lot of these major events happening that we will get back to putting some written content back on the website. No, we haven't been doing too much of that lately, but when you have things like Bulletproof coming up and you have Hitman and Mook and Nitty and Calicos of the world happening and the Torques versus Luxes of the world happening, that we absolutely will be getting back to having some of that more written word content. But thank you all who have been tuning in, especially on these live streams. Really appreciate it. And we hope to see you guys next time. Peace.
And we'll see you on next Sunday, man.